Ladies and guys who like when I react to stuff, Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet. This is the Kill You're in a Loser show. Let's fucking go. So, little hint there, I'm going to be reacting again to Haley's Instagram. This is the third one. I'll leave links in the description below to the previous two episodes I did, or maybe just the previous episode. If you don't know who Haley is, she is very similar to the kind of content that we do, but her stuff is for women. And so I'm jumping on here, reacting to some of her Instagram posts, giving my own spin on them. She's absolutely crushing it on Instagram, 11,000 followers. Good job, Haley. Let's dive into it. So her first post that I will be reacting to is one that says, "Know your worth, then add tax." When I do these react videos, I obviously pull these up ahead of time, but I don't read the description. So I don't know necessarily what they're referring to when I'm just looking at these posts, because some of these posts are going to be vague and then you explain it in the description. Now, I like to do that because then I can give my kind of spin on it without being cluttered up by what the person actually meant. So it makes it a lot more fun. So I looked at this one, know your worth and then add tax. And I thought for a little bit and I was like, what does she mean by this? Like, what could she possibly mean? And then I thought I kind of broke through and I was like, oh shit, this could actually be a really good fucking post. So what I'm going to put my spin on it is not even start again. What I want you guys to do is exactly what she says here, but do it with your goals. So let's say your goal is, I want to sleep with 2 women in the next year. That could be a way of knowing your worth. You're saying, I'm worth sleeping with 2 girls in the next year. And then add tax, then add a little more, then push yourself a little further. Because a lot of the time we have limiting beliefs that are absolutely bullshit. And I can't tell you the number of times a guy will give me his goal. Like, I want to earn $1,000 by the end of the year. And I'll say, well, the end of the year is like 7 months away. Why could you not earn $1,000 a month? Like, how would that, you could do that this month if you wanted to. A lot of the time, what you think your worth is, or what you think an achievable goal is absolutely selling yourself short. And so what I think Haley is going for in this post, or what my spin on it is going to be, is whatever goal you have or whatever you think is achievable, most of the time is way, way, way short of what you could really do if you push yourself. If you want some examples, one of the guys in my group coaching program right now, I've told this story a bunch of times. I'll leave a link in the description below to an interview I did with him where he said that he wanted to lose his virginity by the end of the year, which was 6 or 7 months away. And I obviously called him out on that and said, you don't need to wait 7 months. You could lose your virginity right now. 4 days later, he came back and said, holy shit, I did it. I lost my virginity. I can give you other examples. I have another guy in my group coaching program who said that he wanted to eventually start talking to, I can't remember what number he told me at first, but it was some low number, like 50 approaches a week or something, right? 50 women he walks up to on the street and says, hey, what's up? You know, you're cute. What are you up to? That kind of stuff. 50 a week. I told him, like, mate, you could be doing way more than that. That is so fucking low. That's you being conservative. And he said, like, wait, that's conservative? And I was like, yeah, man, you could talk to 100 women a day if you wanted to. One of my old coaching clients, Roger, he did 124 approaches in a day. He walked up to 124 women, told them they were cute, asked if they were single in a day. And so when I said that to him, he then went out and 4 days later, he had a day where he hit on 57 girls in a day. His limiting beliefs are absolutely bullshit. I have another client that I can think of that's in my group coaching program who, when he first started seeing, well, he will be in my group coaching program in a week or two. But I've worked with him in the past and I took him out in person. Playtime is over. Some of you would have watched the interview I did with him. If you haven't, it's in the description below. And he told me it would take him, I think he said 6 months or 9 months, whatever the hell it was, a lot of months before he would even be able to start saying hello to women, right? He said it would take me 6 months before I can even do that. And I said, that's bullshit. I'm going to take you out. We did coaching in person. I said, let's go right now. Just say hello to a couple of girls. You can just tell them they're cute. Let's do it. That day, he did 10. The next day, he did like another 10. And then he went away by himself a couple of days later and did 25. He talked to 25 women in a day, in a single day. A guy who had never done it in his entire life, by the way, was terrified, thought that every woman was going to bite his head off and that they'd reject him and they were all absolutely sweet to him. And so a lot of the time your limiting beliefs, or your goals that you're going for, I should say, are absolutely selling yourself short. And that's what Haley is talking about in this post. So don't, and what she's saying here is, don't just set a goal, or don't just think that this is your worth and then that's it. It's like you need to add extra on top of that a lot of the time, because you sell yourself so fucking short. And the things that you think are possible, man, you could do some of the things that you think might take you a month or a year, they could take you a day. And so you can't trust your limiting beliefs or what you think is possible, because how the hell do you know what's possible? You're at the start of your journey. You are a newbie. You have no idea what's possible. We'll move on to the next one. You're going to piss a lot of people off by putting your needs first, but do it anyway. Yeah, I love this one. I really love this one. You can start with the book No More Mr. Nice Guy. There's another book, When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. I recommend those books. I talk about those books all the time. I talk about them in the last couple of episodes. Those are the best books if you... By the way, for men and women benefit from those books. If you struggle to like put your needs first, if you're worried about pissing people off, if you're worried about like, oh, but isn't that selfish? It's like, start with those two books. If you want another couple of books to help you deal with selfishness, or you're worried about being selfish, go and read Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. You can listen to the audiobook, and read The Virtue of Selfishness by the same author, Ayn Rand. A-Y-N is her first name, and then Rand, R-A-N-D. Those are long books, by the way. Atlas Shrugged is a fucking long book. I think the audiobook is like 60 or 70 hours, but that's like hands down the best book I've ever read in my life. Absolutely best book I would ever read in my life. Many people I've given that book to have said the same thing. Imogen read it and it was life-changing for her. She was like, holy shit, this book is amazing. It absolutely teaches you that selfishness, as in, when we say selfishness, putting your needs first, which is a good thing, it's a fucking virtue. It's mandatory if you want a life worth living. If you want an elite life, yes, you have to put your needs first. You have to put your needs first. It's very similar to a couple of episodes ago, another post that Haley did that I reacted to, which was something like, you have to be able to say no. You have to be okay with saying no sometimes. This is the same sort of sentiment. You have to say no to people. You have to put yourself first. Your needs do come first. Now, that doesn't mean you completely steamroll over other people and manipulate them and lie to them and hurt them and, you know, fuck a girl even if she doesn't want to. Like, obviously, I think we all know that stuff is morally reprehensible and not going to push you towards a happy, healthy life. It's hard to have a good life when you're doing stuff that your psyche isn't happy with, and you hurting other people. Your psyche is not going to be happy with that, unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath, which most of you are not. I would assume almost all of you are not. Move on to the next one. Every time you fake an orgasm, you are saying your needs do not matter. Now, obviously, this is targeted towards women. However, let me get real with you guys here for a second. Let me put the camera back on. I have faked an orgasm a couple of times, but you never thought you'd hear me say that, but you never thought you'd hear a man say that. But yeah, I've faked orgasms a couple of times. And exactly what she's talking about in this, I'll put it back on the screen. What she's talking about here in this post, if you fake an orgasm, if you care more about what the other person might think rather than your own internal like happiness, if you get what I'm trying to say there, then you are literally saying, I'm not as important as the other person. What I want doesn't matter. My desires don't matter. My goals don't fucking matter. And why would you achieve a goal if you're saying it doesn't matter? So let's expand on this. It's not just about faking an orgasm, because yeah, not everyone has faked an orgasm. But in general, it's like if you're saying the other person's needs are more important than your own, or if you're saying the other person's or someone else's happiness is more important than your own, then why the fuck would you ever be happy? You're literally telling yourself, I don't deserve to be happy. Why the fuck would that lead to happiness? And so we can expand on this and say it applies to things like you walking up to women on the street and saying, hey, you're really cute. Like, what are you up to today? Are you single? If you think that that is not something that you're allowed to do, or you think, oh, but I'd be annoying them, I'd be bothering them, I can't bother them, that's not nice for them. What you're saying is your needs don't matter. Your desire to have an intimate relationship with a woman, your desire to get a girlfriend, hell, even just your desire to have sex, you're saying that isn't important. What's more important is that she doesn't get bothered for 5 seconds, by the way, which is the most you would bother her if you say, hey, you're cute. Are you single? What are you up to? If she is bothered, she will say, hey, you're bothering me. Sorry. Or, hey, sorry, I have a boyfriend. That's what most women say when they don't want to be bothered. Say, sorry, I have a boyfriend. Even if she doesn't have a boyfriend. That's another reason why I am always going to be on the side of, this is a tangent, but people will debate, if a girl says she has a boyfriend, should you just like keep pushing through? I'm always on the side of like, fuck no, what's wrong with you? She's trying to say no in the most polite way she possibly can, because a lot of women struggle with saying no, as we talked about on a previous Reacts video. There was that post on Haley's thing saying you need to learn to say no and stand up for yourself. A lot of women don't want to say no because they don't want to be a bitch, so they'll say, I have a girlfriend. Oh, sorry, I have a boyfriend. And if you push through that and say like, oh, I don't care, and then you keep talking to her, Now, yeah, you are being a bit of a pain, right? She's politely rejected you. It's fine to walk away. So, saying that your needs matter it's not full invitation to just absolutely go fucking crazy. But at the same time, it's a sliding scale. There is some level of persistence in going for your goals. So that's something you guys will figure out over time. I know none of you guys really need to be told, like, don't harass a woman. You already fucking know that shit. I don't need to sit here and tell you that, but getting back on point, to some degree, you do need to bother people. If you want, you need to risk bothering people. That's a better way of phrasing it. I don't think I bother people, but I risk bothering people. Some people will be bothered by me talking to them. Some potential coaching clients of mine might be bothered by me telling them, here's how much the price costs, right? They might be bothered by that. If I share my content on Reddit, which Imogen is doing for me, she's a fucking legend. She markets my stuff. She posts it on Reddit. She shares it, I should say. By posting that stuff on Reddit, we might be bothering people. There are people on Reddit who don't like when I post my shit. They're like, oh, this is annoying. You're just spamming your content. They say that to everyone, by the way. Everyone is spamming their content at this point. But you have to be okay with potentially bothering people to put your needs first. Now, again, that doesn't mean you harass people. I don't go on Reddit and individually message every single person and send an inbox message to them and say, hey, you need to watch my content. And then if they say no thanks, then I keep messaging them. Yes, that is harassment. We all fucking know that. But you do need to put your needs first. You have to risk bothering people. You have to risk bothering women if you're going to go up to them and say hello. By definition, that could bother them. If you live your life afraid of bothering someone, or on this post, afraid of not orgasming and afraid of what he might think if you don't orgasm. If you want to talk about it in terms of the bedroom, if you are afraid of, oh my God, I can't get it up. Like, what would she think? Or maybe, here's a better example. Maybe you don't feel like having sex. Your girlfriend wants sex and you're like, I don't really want to have sex. If you just make yourself do it anyway, again, you're saying your needs don't fucking matter. So we'll move on to the next post. Neediness causes a loss of attraction. Yeah, I think this one kind of doesn't need a huge explanation. Now, I don't want you guys to get too neurotic and be like, oh my God, I have to be cold and clinical and alpha male and I can't have any neediness or any feelings or any, I can't need any validation whatsoever, or she'll think that I'm needy and she'll run away. Like, that is a form of neediness itself. It's like you being neurotic. So a tiny bit, like, we all kind of need other people. Sure, I think that's, that goes without saying. No man is an island. You can't live your life without having friends or any form of intimacy with women, or if you're gay, with other men. I think we all kind of know that, but we're talking about neediness as in like when it's way over the top, when it's like dialed to 11 and you're just like desperate for a woman. I mean, even that's a bad way of phrasing it. I was desperate for women. I was desperate to get laid. That's kind of like that can be a good thing because it means you go all in, you really try. But you guys know what I mean. It's more like, and she explains this in the description on this post. It's more like you dump your problems on the other person, Or here she goes on to explain neediness is like when you get needy if someone doesn't act the way you expect them to. So that's like you're dumping your expectations or dumping your problems on the other person. You're saying, I'm unhappy, so you have to make it better. That's neediness. Or I'm sad, so you have to spend time with me right now. That's you being needy. To some extent, or to a large extent, you do need to be okay on your own. I've talked about this a bunch. I've had quite a few coaching clients actually who have come to me and they basically say like, look, I was either in this relationship or it's about to end. Like it either did end or it's about to end. I feel like I was really needy in that relationship. I wasn't a complete person. I wasn't happy by myself. I expected her to make me happy. I expected that if I was sad, she had to make it better. And that obviously pushed her away. At some point, she just wasn't attracted because I wasn't a complete person. This happens quite a lot. Part of the answer here is building yourself up. And here's some actionable steps with what I mean there. Building a social circle. If you don't have a social circle, go to meetup.com. Go and make some friends. Post on my forums and say, hey, is there anyone who lives in my city? I'd like to make a bro or two. We'll grab a beer. I need a friend. I need a couple of friends. I want to build my social circle. Asking your other friends if you have some, hey, do you have any other friends that you can introduce me to? I'm trying to meet more people. Building up a social circle, having fucking friends is the best, the number one band-aid, or not band-aid, the number one fix to being a needy, incomplete person in a relationship. Next thing is just going to the gym, having some sort of routine, having hobbies, even just working on your self-improvement. That's a hobby in itself, or it's like a mission that you're working on. When you like the person you are, or when you at least have stuff that you are working on by yourself, it makes it a lot harder to be needy. It kind of solves that problem of you being too needy. You need to start working on yourself first and foremost. You cannot expect a girl that you're dating, person that you're in a relationship with, to complete you. They need to be a nice bonus that goes on top of you. And now I guess I do want to add the caveat and say, to some extent, dating women, it gives you validation. I am a big fan of that. I've talked in the past, so you don't have to be 100% complete person. I won't go that far, but you can't go the exact opposite and say I'm a 0% person by myself. I need her. Or I'm only 50% by myself. She's the other 50%. It's that's not healthy. You have to be at least 85% okay by yourself. And then, women is a nice little thing. Because I do think intimacy and sex and dating and all that is a need for sure. So you don't have to be 100% okay being single. But at the same time, you can't just be a complete train wreck if you're single. And you can't dump all of your problems on the other person and expect them to fix your shit. Because at the end of the day, you need to fix your own shit, and they can definitely give you advice. They can give you motivation. They can give you accountability for sure. Imogen gives me a lot of accountability. I give her a lot, but she needs to handle her own shit. She has coaches that she pays. She has a counselor that she sees. I have 2 coaches that I pay. One of them's kind of like a counselor. I have an entire group of people that keep me accountable. I have a Telegram group of people that keep me accountable. I have other advice I listen to, podcasts I follow. She has her own books and podcasts that she follows. She has friends that she reaches out to that help her, and her mother. I have friends, and even my fucking mother will help me sometimes. She's great for advice. So you need to have your own support network, I guess is what we're talking about here. Your partner needs to have her own support network as well. And then you guys come together and you add to each other's lives. You can't rely on each other to solve each other's emotional needs all of the time. You can't be 100% each other's solution to your emotional problems, because that isn't fair. That's a burden that's unfair. No one can be there for you 100%, because what happens when she's having a bad day and you need her, but she can't be there for you because she's sad herself or she's busy? What happens when she's busy and you're like, but I'm needy. I feel lonely. You need to come here. That's only going to cause a grating of the relationship. It's going to cause tension. It's not going to work. I've seen so many relationships fall apart. They're 100% doomed if you're this needy. If you're 100% dependent on the other person to solve your emotional and your emotional needs, the relationship is going to fail. 100%. I can 100% guarantee that. I have never seen an exception to that. You cannot expect the other person to solve all of your problems. That's not the way a healthy relationship needs to go. We'll move on to the next one. Your desires are fucking sacred. I like this one. I've talked a few times I've had women on the podcast, like Haley herself. I just also did a podcast with a woman called Paige. I think that'll be up in the next couple of days. Maybe it'll be up by the time you listen to this one. And every time I have a woman on the podcast, they always, obviously their point of view is from the female point of view, because most of their clients are female, most of the people they work with is female, most of their friends are female, blah, blah, blah. So women definitely need to be told that their desires are okay, that their desires are, as Haley says, fucking sacred. I think women definitely need to hear from that. The women that I have on the podcast are always surprised to hear, or they're always interested to hear, that men also struggle with this kind of stuff. Because the general stereotype is that men just go for what they want. And if a man has a desire, he'll make it happen because he's masculine and he just does it. But it's like, that's like a portion of men, sure. But the majority of men that I see don't think that their desires are sacred. They don't think that their desires are okay. They don't think it's okay to get what they want or to go for what they want. And so I love this post here. Your desires are fucking sacred. If you want something, fucking make it happen. I will throw in the caveat that the non-aggression principle applies here. If you don't know what that is, that's a libertarian principle. I live my life by that, or it's one of the principles I live my life by. Basically, don't aggress on someone else. Like, don't be aggressive. Don't hurt someone else is a better way of saying it. Don't stomp on anyone else. As long as you're not violating that rule, you're not hurting someone else, you're not violating their rights, you're not forcing them to do something they don't want to do or silence it. You guys get the point. As long as you're not violating the non-aggression principle, then absolutely go for your desires. And everyone else, I want them to go for their desires as well. I think you guys know one of the main motivations for me having this YouTube channel and this podcast and my content, my main website, killyourinaloser.com, with all the articles and stuff on it. The main reason I'm doing this is because I want people to reach their goals. I want people to manifest their desires, if you want to talk like that. I want people to achieve the things they want to achieve, no matter what it is. If it's have more sex, cool, I want to make that happen for you. If it's make more money, I want to make that happen for you. If it's lose your virginity, I want to make that happen for you. If it's have a girlfriend and get married and have a wife and family, fuck yeah, I want to make that happen. You need to look at your desires as the template for a happy life. So if you're sitting there wanting something, don't just brush it aside and say, oh, I can't really have that thing, or that's shallow, or it's silly, or I don't know if I can achieve that, or I know I shouldn't be doing that, or that's a dumb way to spend my life, or I know I should be focusing on my career, not women. No, fuck no. Your desires are fucking sacred, and you need to grab hold of them and say, I deserve this shit. I want to make this shit fucking happen. Even if you don't think you deserve it, I deserve to at least fucking try. I deserve to at least start taking the baby steps towards maybe one day, possibly, maybe, potentially, maybe having this. But you cannot push your desires aside and say, nah, that's shallow. Nah, I shouldn't do that. No, that's dumb. It's too late for me. No, I can't have that because I'm short. Nah, I'm bald. A bald man can't get laid. Nah, I don't deserve a girlfriend. No, fuck no. If you want something, you need to fucking, as Haley says here, put an underline under it and say, right, this is fucking sacred. Put a big fucking box around it. Put it on a big piece of paper, put it on your fucking mirror that you see every morning when you get up to brush your teeth, and say, this is what I fucking want. This is what I want. I want this. I am going to start making this happen. I deserve this. Or even if you don't think you deserve it, I deserve to at least start working towards this, to try. Your desires are fucking sacred. If you want something, go for it. Do not ever let anyone else tell you that something is silly or shallow or dumb, and people will shit on you. Especially with the stuff we're talking about, getting late. People will say, that's shallow. You shouldn't want that. You should fucking work on your career. In terms of the audience that Haley has, a lot of her people, maybe they're working towards, I want to manifest my sexuality. Or what that means is basically, I want to learn to fucking feel pleasure. I want my husband to make me fucking come. I want to have sex. I want to get laid. I want to explore my sexuality. I want to have a good time. They need to give themselves permission to that, because a lot of people will say like, oh, but you're a mother. You shouldn't be worrying about sex. You should be focusing on your kids and shit like that. It's like, if you have a desire, fucking write it on a piece of paper, read it every day, start making it happen. Do not ever push something aside because someone tells you that it's shallow or silly or dumb or it's not important. No, if it's a fucking desire of yours, it is fucking sacred. I will move on to the next one. The final one, we'll wrap it up after this one. A woman in her power doesn't let other people drain her. Now, obviously, replace the word woman with men. Most of you guys are men. But what she's kind of talking about here is, I guess I'll read the description. She's talking about specifically masculine versus feminine energy. And then she goes on to talk about like, you're going to get burnt out if you're trying too hard to be something you're not. Like if you don't let yourself just be feminine. So let's flip that and talk about that in terms of like masculine energy, because this is a really good point. She talks a lot about feminine energy, and obviously you can just flip it and talk about masculine energy when we're talking about ourselves. She's saying don't let other people make you... I'm doing a bad job of phrasing this, of reading out, but she's basically saying if you want to be fucking feminine, be feminine. If you want to be you, be you. Don't let other people tell you how you should be or how you should act or any of that kind of stuff. Same sort of shit here with masculine energy. Don't let other people tell you that being masculine is toxic or being masculine means that you're using people. No, it doesn't have to mean that at all. You know, a huge part of my ethics and philosophy and ethos is to do right, to be good to other people, to leave other people better than you found them, to leave women better than you found them, to add to other people's lives, to build other people up and contribute to the universe, and to leave the whole fucking world slightly better than you found it when you were born. So don't let people tell you that being masculine is wrong, or going for your desires is wrong, or, you know, you should give more than you take, or you shouldn't be selfish. You should just, you shouldn't be selfish. You should be selfless and do stuff for everyone else. It's like, no, don't let other people drain you. Don't let other people take from you. Don't let other people tell you that your desires are wrong. Don't let other people not let you be or tell you not to be masculine. Because at the end of the day, masculine is fucking you. If you're highly masculine, fucking go for it. If you're a woman, by the way, and you're highly feminine, people will tell you that that shit's wrong too. They'll be like, oh, you got to stand up for yourself and be more masculine. And, you know, fucking feminists will tell you, oh, you know, you shouldn't have a family. That's like patriarchy, and you gotta go to the workplace and do a STEM field. It's like, no, don't let other people tell you who you gotta be. Like, dig deep, look inside yourself, figure out what kind of person you are, what kind of person you want to be, what kind of person you're building towards. Let that fucking energy out. Be that person. Don't let other people tell you something's wrong. Certainly don't let other people tell you which desires are okay or which goals are okay and which ones aren't, because people will have shitty opinions of what's good for you. I can't tell you what is good for you. That's why the number one, or the first thing I do when I jump on a coaching call with someone, or when someone hits me up for a call to even see if we're going to go ahead with coaching, the first thing I say to them is, what do you want? What are your goals? What do you actually want? What are your desires? What kind of life would you like to build? What kind of person would you like to be? I don't tell them what to do. Like, I don't say, hey, you should have a lot of sex because I did. I don't say, hey, you should have an open relationship because I have one. I don't tell them like, no, don't get married because I don't want to get married, so you shouldn't get married. No, I don't fucking tell them what to do. That would be incredibly arrogant of me and not helpful to them, and it wouldn't get them towards their mission of being happy and fulfilled. And so if other people are telling you what's right for you, if they're trying to give you a prescription for how you should live your life, I hate the word should, but if they're trying to tell you how you should live your life, it's almost always going to be wrong. I can't tell you how many people leave comments on my YouTube channel who just write like dipshit emails to me where they tell me that I'm doing something wrong or that I should do this instead. I had some idiot the other day. Okay, I shouldn't call people out, and I shouldn't be that harsh. So I won't continue that sentence. But people will tell me like, this is wrong. You should do this. You should do that. You know, you shouldn't live your life like this. You shouldn't do your content like this. You should do this. And it's like, don't let other people tell you what you should do. Because other people's prescription for you is based on their life and their philosophies and their experiences, not yours. It's not tailored to you. So you need to figure out what kind of life you want to live, what kind of person you want to be, what kind of people you want to interact with, how you want your life to look, what kind of people you want to let into your life, all of that kind of stuff. Don't let other people tell you what to do. And certainly don't let other people tell you that your desires are wrong or silly or dumb or shallow or any of that kind of stuff, because they don't fucking know you. They're not you. They haven't lived a day in your life. They have no idea what's good for you. Maybe they can give you advice, but that's about it. Don't let them tell you what that you should do. And anyone who uses the phrase should and says, you should do this, you're doing this wrong. Anyone who uses that kind of all or nothing, 100% language, don't listen to that shit. So even though I've just spent this whole podcast telling you what to do and shit, take it with a grain of salt. I say that all the time. Listen to my advice, see if it works for you. Integrate it into your life if you want to. Experiment with it, but you don't have to just take my word for it. In fact, I don't want you to. I don't want you to just be prescribed my wisdom and just follow it 100%. That would be fucking stupid. You need to figure out what you want, what works for you, all that stuff. Leave it there. Wrap it up. I'll leave links in the description below to Haley's stuff. She is an absolute legend. I also did an interview with her. I'll leave a link in the description below to that. And as always, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Go out, crush your goals, hugs and kisses.